Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about HubSpot. If you're hustling in the trenches to build a business or bootstrapping one of your own, let's talk about an AI-powered tool that can lighten up your workload a bit. HubSpot's Campaign Assistant is a game changer for creating marketing campaigns at scale. It quickly turns your key selling points into a cohesive pitch, which helps you deliver knockout emails, ads, and landing pages in minutes. So let Campaign Assistant take care of the campaigns so you can get back to growing your business. Work smarter, not harder at HubSpot.com/campaign-assistant.
Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, October 6th. I'm Juliet Bennett Rylah here with Martina Bretous, editor of HubSpot's Next in AI blog, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Today, we're going to talk about the latest developments in AI from heavy hitters including OpenAI, Google, and Amazon. But first, let's run through the stories making headlines in the world of business and tech. Google launched its new phones, the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro, and Pixel Watch 2. These phones are going to be able to use new features of the updated Android 14 operating system, including AI-powered photo editing tools and an updated Google Assistant. Today in the Chicken Wars, Popeyes surpassed Kentucky Fried Chicken to take the second place spot in the U.S. chicken chain rankings. Chick-fil-A remains on top. KFC has lost footing in the U.S., where its market share fell to 11.3% in the last year. Hyundai will begin using North American charging standard ports in its electric vehicles in the U.S. and Canada. This move will give drivers access to the 12,000 Tesla superchargers and double the size of Hyundai's current charging network. As Ben wrote, it's like March Madness, but for sad people. The IRS announced its new federal income tax brackets for the 2023 tax year. That would be the ones Americans will file in 2024. Income thresholds and standard deductions were raised for each bracket. And finally, Prada is going to the moon. Axiom Space, the company tasked with creating spacesuits for NASA's 2025 Artemis 3 lunar mission, announced a partnership with luxury fashion house Prada. All right, so on to our main topic today. We're going to talk about some developments in AI. Martina, I understand that OpenAI has a few updates to its products. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, they've been pretty busy. So first, they released a new version of DALL-E, which is their text-to-image AI model, and its qualities were on par with Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. This version of DALL-E is supposed to be better at analyzing requests and understanding context. And one of the best features is that it's going to integrate with ChatGPT, so it's going to allow users to easily create prompts, so they don't have to worry about prompt engineering anymore.
So just to clarify, I can now go to ChatGPT and I can type in, make me an image of, a cat playing the banjo, and it'll do it in that platform. I don't need to go to another image generator. I can do everything in ChatGPT.
I believe so, yes.
And then I can be like, write me a haiku about this cat playing a banjo.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it.
All right. I may try this later. What else should we know about this particular product?
So to prevent misinformation and copyright claims, they programmed it to decline requests that ask for an image of a public figure or in the style of a living artist. And another cool thing is that artists can tell OpenAI, hey, I don't want my art to train your image generation models. And so it's one way for artists to protect their work from being replicated without their consent.
Yeah, that's cool. That's similar to what Getty is doing with its own AI image generator.
Exactly.
You know, you can't say the Pope wearing a Balenciaga jacket.
Right.
Just won't do it.
As great as that was. Yeah.
Yeah. What else is ChatGPT up to?
They're doing a lot. So now ChatGPT can search the web in real time. So if you remember, the chatbot had its knowledge cut off to September 2021 before.
Right.
That's one advantage that Google Bard has had over them. Mm-hmm. But now OpenAI, which is owned by Microsoft, has this new feature called Browse with Bing embedded in ChatGPT. And so people can search real-time information.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. What else do we have in the ChatGPT complex?
So in the next week, ChatGPT is also rolling out these new voice and image features that's going to allow users to really incorporate the chatbot more into their daily life. So you'll soon be able to prompt it by showing it an image. So let's say you're trying to whip up a meal, right? Mm-hmm. And you're showing it what you have in your fridge. It can tell you, okay, here's a recipe that you can make based on what you have. Or maybe you're traveling and you're looking for information on a monument that you saw. You can share that image with ChatGPT and ask it to share details about the artist who created it.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. I mean, assuming that all works and it's not utter nonsense, like.
Right.
I mean, that's really impressive.
I know. I mean, I'm excited to try out the fridge one because I have a ton of food in my fridge that I don't know what to do with. So I'd love a couple recipes to try out.
Yeah, me too.
On the audio side, you can also send a voice note to ChatGPT and get a voice response back. So they partnered with a couple voice actors to create really human-like audio. And I have to say, it sounds pretty realistic.
Yeah, and that's probably an accessibility thing too.
Of course.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing. Let's go back to Google for a second. We were talking about Google Bard losing its edge with this real-time web search. What is Google doing in the, I don't know what we would call them, the AI race, the AI wars?
Well, unfortunately, it looks like Google's kind of losing at the moment. They're just playing catch up. So when they first released Bard, I think the general consensus was that it just wasn't as good as ChatGPT. So they've been working on changing that. Okay. They have a Google It feature on Bard, which is basically supposed to double check the information that Bard is giving you. So the idea here is that it's going to be more reliable than ChatGPT, right?
Okay.
They've also connected Bard to other Google products like YouTube and Gmail so that it's kind of seamlessly integrated into your life. So whether you're working on a Google Doc, you're checking your email, you can collect all that information and connect it seamlessly.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. I always have a really hard time finding things in Drive. But I don't know why. It's like an unorganized pit in there. It would be nice if I could just be like, can you find me this thing from like 3 months ago? And it could just do it. That would be really great.
For me, it would be email. Sometimes I'm digging through an email and I will try every single keyword and it just won't work.
Too.
And so if I could tell Bard, hey, I'm looking for that one email where I talked about this, please find it for me. And then I could drop it into a Google Doc. That would be great. So I'm hoping it's successful.
For me, it's always the digital tickets, like Eventbrite or whatever. It's like I'm standing in line and they're like, tickets, please. And I'm like,
right.
Great.
Where's the confirmation code?
Thanks for this email from 2017 that I don't need.
Right. Yeah. And Google's also releasing Gemini, which is supposed to be their latest and greatest LLM. I think one of their main sells was the fact that it was going to be multimodal. But once again, OpenAI beat them to it by adding new multimodal features to ChatGPT. And so they kind of lost that edge. But they do have another advantage, which is the fact that they have access to so many data sets from their consumer products like YouTube. And so they're saying that Gemini is going to be really the greatest LLM out there. And because of that information, because they have access to so much, it could be true. We'll just have to wait and see.
And just for anyone who doesn't know, LLM is obviously the large language model. And then can you tell us what multimodal is in this context?
So multimodal basically means that it can interpret and understand data in multiple forms. So it can understand text form, video form, audio form. So originally ChatGPT could only understand text prompts. But now it can also understand image prompts. You can feed it an image and it can perceive it and then give you an output based on that. And so originally, before the update that OpenAI made, that was one advantage that Gemini was going to have. But now ChatGPT and Gemini will have that feature. They're still rolling out some features to paid users, and people with free subscriptions may not have access for a while.
And then one other thing that I know you wanted to talk about was yet another tech company getting involved here, and that would be Amazon.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't been talking about Amazon as much when we're talking about the big players, but they've been working. So they recently upgraded Alexa with a new Alexa large language model, which is designed specifically for voice. And I think we've all had that experience with voice assistants where they just don't hear you well, or you feel like you have to repeat what you're saying, or they misunderstand, and they're just not as helpful as I think we originally anticipated them to be.
Right.
And so Amazon's looking to change that. I think this new Alexa, based on what they've said, is supposed to be more conversational, more receptive. It's supposed to complete multiple tasks at once. And it's going to work with multiple device types. So your speakers, your lights, even your robot vacuum.
Wow.
And it's supposed to really kind of have this immersive experience to make your smart home really smart.
I would like to see that work. Do you think there'll be like a cool, I don't know, YouTube video where someone's just walking through their entire smart house like it's the future with like their lights turning on? And when will I get to see that?
Well, they say they're rolling it out through a preview program right now, and we'll get more information in the coming months. But I'm waiting just like you. I want to see it happen.
That sounds awesome, but also kind of scary, maybe.
I know. I don't know if you remember that movie Smart House on Disney.
Yes, I was just thinking about it.
Yes, and that movie, I remember scaring me so much. I couldn't sleep that night when I watched it, when she like got really big and she spun around the room. And whenever I think of smart homes, that's the exact image I think of. But I think they're going for a more subtle approach with Alexa. I don't think we have to worry about that as much.
All right. So Martina, you are always keeping up on the latest in AI, what's happening in AI. Anyone who wants to know more about AI should definitely read your blog. Where can they find it?
So you can find me writing on HubSpot's Next in AI blog at blog.hubspot.com/AI.
All right. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot podcast network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clarke. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we will see you next week.
Let me tell you about a show that I've been loving lately. It's called Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's hosted by the incredible John Lee Dumas. It's available now on the HubSpot podcast network. Entrepreneurs on Fire stokes inspiration and shares strategies to fire up your entrepreneurial journey and create the life that you've always dreamed of. I'm a big fan of this podcast. It has energy, it has value, and it's all about learning about entrepreneurship. I was just listening to an episode the other day. JLD interviewed Jay Rogers, who was such a wealth of information. He kind of went into how entrepreneurship chooses you. You don't necessarily choose it, and that failure only happens when you stop trying to win. A lot of gems in this one. So I highly recommend checking out that particular episode along with the rest. So go listen to Entrepreneurs on Fire wherever you get your podcasts. Hey guys, if you listen to the Hustle Daily Show on Google Podcasts, we want to let you know that the option will no longer be available pretty soon. Google is sunsetting its podcast app sometime in early 2024 in favor of YouTube Music, and we want to give you a heads up before it's too late, since that time's almost here. The Hustle Daily Show is available everywhere and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're using YouTube Music, we are there as well. If you're an Android fan, there are plenty of apps like Overcast, Pocket Casts, Player FM, and more. So just search for us wherever you decide to listen to your favorite podcasts.